It's all getting a bit boring now, isn't it? It's finished Chelsea 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. No surprise. James Collins and his team chucked in at the deep end after the dismissal of Vitor Pereira. Club acted slowly in terms of getting a replacement, so no blame on him today. And I think it was an expected result, it was an expected performance, just out of energy for it all, to be honest. First off, I thought we were pretty solid in defensively, trying to keeping Chelsea out on the most part. A couple of shaky moments here and there, but on the whole, I thought the team were fighting and they fought well. Getting to half time, there was just absolutely nothing going forward. And it's story of the season, 7 goals scored in what is, I think, 11 games now. Not one player in our team has over 1 Premier League goal. So it's just not a recipe for any attacking threat whatsoever, and there was none. Strand Larsen really struggled to hold up the ball. I thought he was really poor. Even going forward when we were through, Chelsea left us so many gaps, so many chances to go through on goal and create chances in the final third, and they were just, every single one was fucked up so badly. You know, the ball was getting caught between people's feet. Every chance that we had, it was killed off by our own wrongdoing, as opposed to a Chelsea player forcing a mistake. So it's really, really disappointing that we just can't do anything going forward, especially when, you know, the defence had kind of, you know, actually put a decent performance in the first half. Second half, disgraceful. Just given up. Just looked like a team bereft of confidence, which they are, bereft of any ambition to fight for us anymore, which they are. 3-0. I mean, Chelsea, it could have been, let's be honest, it could have been 6 or 7 over the course of the game, but 3-0. You know, Chelsea were clinical second half. Santi Bueno, my dad, is faster than him. You know, he's been okay as of late, Santi Bueno, but he is so slow. He's so slow. Like I said, my dad is faster than him. He's got the turning circle of an oil tanker. Like, it's embarrassing. He's a Premier League centre-back, and I know they're not always fast, but he is so slow. So slow. It's painful to watch. When Garnacho was running past him, it was like bullying. So, yeah, it finished 3-0. I mean, Edwards has been more or less agreed, so let's see if he can kind of instill some confidence. And we're all resigned to going down. That's absolutely fine. It's about what we can show in the process of going down, so we can hopefully bounce straight back up. But yeah, second half embarrassing. It's just tiring, but you know, we'll always keep watching. You know, it's I can't help myself but watch unless I've got something else planned. So, and I will continue to do so. I'll continue to appear here, whether it be Championship, League One. I'll still, you know, we love the club. We just certainly don't like the people who are currently representing them on the football field, and we detest those who are in charge of it. I think that's the long and short of it. We love the club, but we detest those who are in charge, and it's a shame. But hopefully, our relegation is the start of a rebuild, because we're in dire straits, and that's what we need. See you next time.
Finished Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. I'm more pissed off of the game today, if I'm honest, more than finding it funny that we've lost again. Every week now, they find another way just to kind of piss me off. And today is one of those where you've just sacked your manager. You go into a Chelsea team who, you know, they're pretty good. They didn't even get out of first gear today, I didn't think. You're going away from home, 8 o'clock. You've got fans travelling down there. You're expecting some sort of kind of performance, or kind of a bit of energy, a bit of needle, a bit of something to give the fans hope, to say that we're not finished, we're not down. But that is just absolutely nailed on, 100%. confirmed to me today that Wolverhampton Wanderers will be playing in the Championship next season. We are absolutely dire, unfortunately, in every aspect of the game. The goal is shit. The wing backs are shit. The centre backs are shit. The midfielders are shit. And the forwards are shit. The players coming on are shit. So what are you supposed to do? Play another 27 games and just accept it? Or do you try and find a way to win? And that's what the next manager's got to do. And I mean, it's looking like it's going to be Rob Edwards. Personally, I think it's a terrible appointment. For one, why on earth would he leave fourth in the table, Middlesbrough flying? Good chance of coming up this season to come to a club that is rotten from the core, from the players to the owners to the stadium it plays in, rotten to the core. It's baffling to me. And that game today summed us up perfectly. Big talk all week about going there and showing something. Just showing you want something. Maybe one player I could say wanted it today. And that was João Gomez. The others, they've got nothing about them, unfortunately. £65 million we could have got for Strong Larson. £65 million. That's the frustrating thing. And I don't know. It's just absolutely pointless talking about these games now, week in, week out. We just didn't even look like causing them any issues. I mean, we've had 3 shots. The commentators were laughing at us like it was like a pub team today, saying that no other team in the league has had has had less than 3 shots this season. And when we had our 3rd shot this evening, they went, oh, well, that's another record that they aren't going to break. Like it's some sort of positive for us. We're pathetic. The whole club is pathetic. The players are pathetic. And that's what you get when you set up to... I mean, the first half is crazy to me. Yeah, we defended well. Sorry, we defended okay, and they didn't score. But to try and do that for 90 minutes is impossible. And we didn't do it for 90 minutes. Because they absolutely tanked us second half. And I'm sure a load of people will be annoyed at the Neto celebration. Who cares? He's in a better place. He deserves to be in a better place. I wouldn't want him anywhere near this football club. I wouldn't want to offer these players at this football club. Because it's not about us as a team winning football games now. It's much bigger than that. It's about the identity of Wolves and the Wolves going forward. We are going to be a Championship team next season. That's a given now, I think. And I'll see loads of people saying, oh, there's still 26 games left to go, 27 games. We've played 11, and have you seen anything that makes it look like we've got any chance of staying up? I don't think so. So I don't think anything's going to change in the next 5 games that's going to get us out of the shit, even with a new manager coming in. And that's the sorry state of Wolves now. You know, we've had a great run. We were in such a great place a couple of years ago, and the owners have ruined it. And that's all it comes down to at the end. The owners have ruined Wolverhampton Wanderers. And now we have to go down, hope we don't rot, build again, and try and get back up. That's all it is. So, yeah. 3 shit goals to concede again. It's me done. Peace.
Full time, Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. To be honest, yeah, that was pretty poor. I think going into it, when your manager gets sacked, you think, oh, is there going to be a nice little bounce? And I think in the first half, kind of saw that a little bit. Defended a lot better. Kind of just soaked up all of Chelsea's pressure, like let them do all the work. We didn't really create much, but realistically, what else were we expecting? I think when you think to a few years ago with O'Neill, we had a good result there, and it would have been nice to have something similar, but realistically, we've got nowhere near the quality that we had then, and even then we thought we were short, but now just that squad is doomed. Strand Larsen just doesn't look like himself, whether he's fit or not. That's the question. I don't think his head's in it. All in all, just not a lot going on. And second half, that's when Chelsea just switched on and opened apart really easily. We fell asleep a bit. They got the first goal, a counter attack, and that's where they have their quality. Esteval came on, instant impact, running at players, taking us on, and we just didn't have any of that. After the first goal, woke up a little bit. Some nice movement in midfield, end to end quite quickly, but just that final product really lacking. So I think Rob Edwards has got a tough job on his hands. If we stay up, not looking good, bruv. January, we'll see what happens, and Fosun will do their yearly cycle where they panic and we spend 100+ mil again, which we should have spent in the summer, and rinse and repeat the cycle until they go. Got to try and stay positive, because it's pretty bleak at the moment to be a Wolves fan, but here's what it is. Chelsea 3, Wolves 0, 2 points in the Premier League, 8 points adrift, but let's get Fosun out and we'll see what happens. Nice one.
Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. At least that's what it's the scoreline at 82 minutes. I have to leave a little early, or leave my apartment a little early, and frankly, I just would rather not watch the final 15 or so minutes than risk being late. Just for context, they're currently doing work in my bathroom, had to drill holes in the wall. There's a leak in the neighbor's apartment. It's been ongoing for weeks, and I was more interested in watching what was going on with the repairs than I was watching this match. Rob Edwards, best of luck, because this lot of players, you have a lot of work to do. It's going to take a complete overhaul. Not super familiar with Edwards' system, how he likes to play. I know that he did a good job with Burrow. I think it's hard to judge based off the Luton team that came up, given kind of how below standard they were for a lot of, especially the second half of that season, but so are Wolves. This squad just looks totally not up to standard. And look, first half, I do think you can take some pride from that, which it sounds kind of pathetic to say. It is pathetic to say. No shots managed until the 61st minute, but at least we went a half without conceding. It just is a team that, like it has been all season, it's bereft of ideas. Getting rid of Vitor Pereira wasn't going to change that overnight. You could tell there's just not the confidence going forward whatsoever, and then you can't defend this team is never going to be able to defend like that for 90 minutes, or really even, as we saw, the goals on 51 minutes. I think that's about fair. That's probably about the limits of what this team can do. It's just terrible to watch. Just terrible, terrible matches to watch. Passes that are either half a yard short or half a yard too long. We have a striker in Strand Larson who, I mean, he looks slow, he looks haggard, he looks like he's made of stone half the time. He's not making runs off the ball, and when he is, he's not getting the ball. He's not holding it up. I think Arokadare has to come in, and hopefully Edwards will try and shuffle things around and maybe get a tune out of Fer Lopez. I'd say maybe out of Arias, but I think we've seen enough that not all of that was on Vitor Pereira. He's been very poor. So I just can't think of any other attackers that are going to change things. Really, really, really nothing performance again. And like I said, I think the only way we'll stay up is one, if Edwards puts a system in that just completely changes the way we play football for the better. It'd be very hard to change the way we play football for the worse. And I think he's also going to have to unlock at least 2 or 3 players who up to this point haven't really featured or have just been playing far below standard. Maybe you can find a way to get Andre more involved in terms of distribution from the back. Maybe you can find a way to get Bellegarde in some better positions. And I mean, it kind of says it all that I think Hee-Chan Wang was our best attacker today. And if Hee-Chan Wang is your best attacker in a Premier League game in 2025, you are not going to win because you will not score. So into the international break, thank God. I think this is probably the first time I've ever truly, genuinely looked forward to an international break. Well timed. It'll give Edwards at least a couple weeks to try and do something. And we'll need a miracle. We need a miracle just like last season, except it feels far more improbable. So we got to get behind Edwards, from Birmingham, or has his family in Birmingham. Hopefully he'll be bringing some better vibes. I know he's going to be happy to be there. And yeah, it's just not much else to say. Hopefully he turns it around. Best of luck, Rob. We're getting behind you, but this lot is looking like it's only headed one direction right now. So on to the international break. See you all in a couple weeks.
So it has ended. Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. And if you're a Wolves fan that went into that game expecting any less, I want to first of all commend your optimism, but also call out the foolishness, because I think it was always going to be a massive, massive challenge to try and get anything out of that game with no manager. But Wolves set up in a way that was extremely negative. 27% possession in the first half, and whilst we kept Chelsea out in that first half, I think we rode our luck at times in that. I think Johnson, 2 very good saves in the first half, and we didn't create a single chance the whole game. Really struggled going forward, really struggled to maintain the midfield at times. I think it was far too easy for Chelsea on the whole. So first half, I think Wolves, we did defend relatively well after the first 10 minutes. In the first 10 minutes, Chelsea had 2 or 3 good chances. I remember one off a free kick from Enzo Fernandez, as well as a few other pop shots aimed at Johnson in our goal. And what was frustrating in the first half is we did get into some quite good positions. I think Jackson Chatchua found himself in acres of space on the right-hand side a few times. But the most frustrating one for me was João Gomez running through brilliantly and finding Strand Larson, who gets it caught in his feet. And Jurgen Strand Larson, I need to have a serious word about him. I think this season has been awful with him. I understand you don't have the service around you, but put your weight about. The amount of times I'm seeing you just simply give up on a 50-50, simply look like you're not bothered to even try and win the ball. And if I had a penny for every time you didn't jump for a 50-50, my word, I'd be a lot richer. But second half, the first goal goes in, it's Garnacho, absolutely skins Jackson on that side. And the ball in, I don't know what Totti's doing, completely leaves his man, and Gusto has a free header, which we joked about here. He was going to score as the typical commentator's curse came in the first half. Malo Gusto has never scored a senior goal. And we all knew the writing was on the wall. It would come today. The first goal would be against Wolverhampton Wanderers. But after that, it was a collapse from Wolves. I think for 5 minutes after, we actually shown a bit of something, a bit of effort to try and get back in it whilst not creating any chances. I remember a shot from miles out from Jean-Luc Bellegarde being the only real shot in that game. But it was soon 2-0 for João Pedro. Esteval coming on, who is a fantastic footballer and shown why he's a level above Wolverhampton Wanderers at this point in time, as is most teams in the league, as are most players in the league. And that's why I believe that the writing's on the wall. Of course, Rob Edwards is coming in, and I think it's quite a good appointment personally. I think whilst it might not be positive that the board are thinking this way, I think I'd rather get a manager in like Rob who's going to build us in the Championship than a Ten Hag. But my God, he's got a job on his hands to get a tune out of these players because they are simply not good enough. Totti, not good enough. Jean-Luc Bellegarde today, far off it. I think Andre and Gomez potentially held a bit of their own, particularly Gomez. But of course, we know these are the two players of quality. I don't want to dig out James Collins too much being into him, but only bringing on Marshall Manetzi, and I'm happy to see Mateus Mane get some game time, got himself about a bit. But should have introduced players like Tolu, I really believe. Really should have came on, particularly with how Strand Larsen was performing. And I would have liked to even seen the two of them up front, to try and get something, try and deliver balls into that box of a Chelsea defence that isn't that great, in honesty. But we didn't press them. And then, obviously, the cake was eaten by Pedro Neto. And he celebrated, which was a bit of kick in the teeth, as it feels like we have most weeks as Wolverhampton Wanderers fans at the minute. But I assume that Rob Edwards will be in charge of Crystal Palace, and it's a hell of a hard game to come in on. But let's hope that over the course of the international break, he managed to find a tune out of some of these players. But I don't know if there's a tune there to be played at this point, honestly. Just feels like we're delaying the inevitable, as these players simply aren't good enough. And that's not going to change with any manager, I don't feel, unfortunately.
Well, it's finished here. Wolves 0, Chelsea 3. I think, the first half was a spirited defensive performance. I mean, going forward, we didn't look like we had any sort of attacking intent. I mean, the whole match, again, we just lacked creativity. We lacked any sort of pace in behind. It would have been nice to see Fer Lopez involved in the squad. I don't really know why he wasn't involved. Hopefully he can get some more minutes, because when he has played, he's looked bright. Mateus Mane looked pretty decent when he came on. As much, done as much as he could have possibly done. To be honest, again, another bright spark, which is kind of the only real positive, to be honest. Rob Edwards has got a big task ahead of him. It's a mountain to climb at this point. In the first half defensively we looked alright, but just in the second half, 3 pretty simple goals, and it was in the end. Going forward, we lack a lot of big problems going forward, and it's worrying, to be honest. Strand Larsen is up there on his own, and he's got no one around him. Like, don't get me wrong, he didn't play to his best, but when you've got the next player is 10-15 yards from him, and it's an impossible job almost sometimes. But yeah, it's going to be a tough ask, extremely tough ask for Edwards to come in. He's got to come in and re-energise the squad at the moment, because it looks like the players are lacking sort of motivation, lacking any energy. We want to see a bit of fight, a bit of grit with the team. If we're going to stay up, that's got to come into the squad. Simple as that. Edwards clearly wants to be here, which is nice to see, and I hope that kind of reflects on the players and the performances. He's got an international break now to get his tactical ideas into the squad, and hopefully we can pick up the wins, because we need to. As simple as that. There's no excuses. We just need to start winning. And I don't know when that's going to next come, which is again worrying. But yeah, just need a bit of a new lease of life, to be honest. And hopefully Edwards can bring that, and hopefully we'll change around our fortunes. But yeah, today it was bleak today. As simple as that, really. You can't blame James Collins. Again, it's a tough ask for him to come in and try and get 3 points away at Chelsea, or a point away at Chelsea, for his first ever game in charge of a senior team. So yeah, hopefully Edwards can come in and bring that new lease of life into the squad. And going into the second international break without a win, I mean, yeah, it's not good. But thanks for Dave for having me on, and hopefully in a couple of weeks against Palace we can actually pick up a win. So Wolves are away.